Hiking solo as a female backpacker can be an incredibly rewarding experience. You have the freedom to go wherever you want, whenever you want, without having to wait for anyone else to go with you. As someone who spends a lot of time out on trail, I know how important it is to prioritize safety and preparedness, especially as a solo female backpacker or hiker. So if you're a backpacker or hiker who is looking to build up your confidence to go out on trail by yourself, here are 10 tips every solo female backpacker and hiker should know before going out in the backcountry alone. Start with knowing your fears. It's okay to have fears about hiking solo. It's not okay to let fears or other people's fears hold you back from doing something you may love and want to do. Start by acknowledging each of the fears you might have about being out on trail alone. Make a fear list and write down all of the fears you have about hiking alone. If you have friends and family that have expressed concerns with you wanting to be out on trail by yourself, jot down the things that they're afraid of too. Then put together a plan on how you're going to face each of those fears. Often, just the act of acknowledging fears, whether they're your fears or someone else's, can help reduce their power. Tip number 2 is all about trip planning. Maybe one of your fears of hiking solo is figuring out the logistics and planning a trip. The thought of knowing where to go, having to put together a route, arranging transportation to get to and from the trailhead, and even knowing how to find water sources and safe tent sites might seem overwhelming. Here are some tips that can help you start to overcome the fear and overwhelm of trip planning. Start by choosing a popular, well-marked trail with lower mileage and elevation, especially if you're new to solo hiking. Even though you're out there by yourself, you're more likely to end up at a tent site with other backpackers nearby on a popular trail, reducing your chances of having to camp alone at night. Picking a popular trail will also most likely mean easier access to the trailhead where you can safely park your car, reducing your chances of needing to take public transportation to the trailhead or having to hitchhike back to your car after your hike. Next step, research your route. Learn about the trail's difficulty, terrain, current trail conditions, and road conditions getting to the trailhead. You can do this by checking for recent trail reports online or call the local ranger station for the area you want to travel in to get real-time information. You'll also want to learn what the local rules and regulations are for the area. Do you need a permit to park your car at the trailhead? Do you need a permit to camp along the trail? Are there specific rules for food storage? What wildlife might you encounter in the area? Look up the current weather forecast for the area as well. I personally like to check the weather about a week before my trip, a couple days before, and then again the morning before I head out. While you're in the research phase of your trip planning, also take the time to look at a map of the area and see if you can locate nearby water sources and potential tent sites. Once you've completed your research, put together your trip itinerary, including mapping out the route for your trip. Make sure you note on your route any nearby water sources, tent sites, possible hazards like downed trees, snowfields, and water crossings, and mark any potential exit routes and alternates along your route that you could take in the event of an emergency where you'd need to get off trail. Knowing what you can expect while you're out on trail by yourself can help relieve a lot of anxiety for your upcoming trip. Tip number 3 is all about backpacking gear. Another fear you might have as a solo female backpacker is trying to decide what kind of backpacking gear you'll need to pack for your trip. It can be overwhelming trying to decide what gear is the right gear to pack, especially if you're new to backpacking. Every trip is going to be different depending on the time of year, location of the trail, conditions of the trail, and the forecasted weather for the area. You'll want to pack the right gear for the right conditions and only pack the gear you'll need. Not only should you invest in good gear that you're comfortable with, but you'll also need to know how to use all the gear you bring with you. Let's start with the 10 essentials. The 10 essentials are a list of 10 items every hiker should have in their pack for every trip they go on, no matter how long they plan on being out on trail. The 10 essentials are designed to help you be prepared for the worst case scenario in the event of an emergency where you have to stay out on trail longer than you anticipated due to adverse weather, getting lost, getting injured, or having to help another hiker. The 10 essentials include navigation, sun protection, insulation, illumination, first aid kit, fire, repair kit and tools, extra food, extra water and hydration, and an emergency shelter. Click here to check out my video where I talk about the 10 essentials in detail and show you what each of these items are in my pack for either my day hikes or overnight backpacking trips. Another gear tip I have for you is to choose proper footwear. Invest in good hiking boots or shoes like a pair of trail runners, which can help prevent blisters and ensure comfort. You also might want to consider getting your shoes a half size up so that your feet have plenty of room to swell whenever you're hiking longer distances. When it comes to clothing, layer your clothing. Wear moisture wicking base layers, which will be the layer closest to your skin. Then an insulating mid layer to help you keep warm like a fleece or a puffy jacket, and then use a waterproof outer layer to help you stay dry if it's wet out. One of my all-time favorite hiking clothing tips is to be bold and start cold. This means leaving the trailhead and starting your hike wearing less layers and feeling a little cold. Chances are once you start hiking, you'll warm up pretty quickly. By not wearing all of your layers at the start of your hike, you'll reduce the chance of sweating underneath your clothing. Sweating and being wet in cold conditions can not only be uncomfortable, but it makes it so that it takes longer for you to warm up. But in adverse conditions, could also be deadly. Be bold and start cold. Now let's talk about safety gear. As a solo female backpacker and hiker, you might have worries about your personal safety whenever you're out on trail alone, whether it's encountering a creepy stranger, wildlife, or needing to signal for help while you're out of cell and Wi-Fi service. This is why it's important to always pack gear that will help you feel safe and comfortable while you're out on trail alone. Safety gear can be navigation tools like a reliable paper map and compass, a fully charged cell phone with a digital map of the area downloaded on it and that has GPS capabilities, and even a satellite messenger with two-way messaging. It can also be as simple as a whistle and a knife or multi-tool, or even a can of bear spray. Most packs will have a built-in whistle on the sternum strap, so check to see if your pack has one. If so, this is one less thing you'll need to remember to pack for your trip. If you're planning on doing solo travel in the backcountry, you might want to consider carrying a satellite messenger with two-way messaging. Satellite messengers allow you to have two-way messaging with search and rescue officials in the event of an emergency where you need to hit the SOS button and call for help. You'll also have an option for two-way messaging with friends and family at home while you're out of cell and Wi-Fi service. Not only can this help provide peace of mind for those at home while you're out on trail by yourself, but you'll also have peace of mind knowing that your people at home won't have to worry as much about you while you're out there. Even without cell and Wi-Fi service, people at home are able to track you along your hike. They can send you text messages if they need to reach you. Sometimes having this type of communication when you're out on trail by yourself can also help you feel less lonely too. If you choose to use a satellite messenger, make sure it's fully charged, the device and subscription is set up ahead of time and activated ahead of time, and that you know how to use the device and all of its features. I'd also consider bringing a portable charger to charge all of your electronics while you're out on trail. If you plan on traveling through an area that's known to have bear activity, you might also want to consider bringing bear spray with you and keep it somewhere easily accessible on your pack. You'll want to check park and wilderness area regulations for carrying bear spray before heading out to the trail. Carrying bear spray in wilderness areas like Yosemite National Park and Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park is actually prohibited, while parks with grizzly bear populations like Glacier National Park and Yellowstone National Park strongly recommend hikers always carry bear spray. My final tip when it comes to backpacking gear is to use a checklist when packing for your trip. I've created a backpacking gear packing list to help you figure out all the gear you might need to pack for any backpacking trip. Each section of the list is broken down by system and has a checkbox that you can mark once you have the item packed. I've also marked each of the items on the list that's considered one of the 10 essentials, making it easy to ensure that you have all 10 packed for every trip you go on. This list is intentionally comprehensive, so don't feel like you need to pack every single item on this list for every trip. Just use this as a guideline for what gear you'll need to pack. Click the link down in the video description below for details on how you can download your own backpacking gear packing list for free. Knowing that you have reliable gear, everything you need for your trip, and having a checklist you can use to make sure you don't forget to pack something you might need can help boost your confidence when it comes to packing gear for your next trip. Now, let's talk about using your gear. When it comes to being out on trail by yourself, you might have feelings of uncertainty when it comes to your backcountry skills, like knowing how to use all your gear, especially if you're new to hiking and backpacking. This is why I always recommend practice using your gear before getting to the trailhead. This means break in your hiking shoes by wearing them a few times. Set up your stove and boil a pot of water. Practice filtering water using your water filter. Set up your tent and make sure you have all the right pieces. Practice using your navigation tools as you plan your route. Practice using your navigation tools while navigating through your neighborhood. Dig a cat hole using a trowel. I'd also recommend trying some of your backpacking meals just to make sure you like them. Get comfortable with using all of your gear before heading out on trail alone. The more comfortable you are using your gear, the more prepared you'll be for your trip and the more confident you'll feel being out there by yourself. Now, let's talk about how to stay connected even when you're out on trail by yourself. Let someone you trust who isn't going out on trail with you know of your plans before heading out on trail for your solo trip. Share your itinerary and the route you created for your trip along with your expected return day and time. If you can, plan on checking in with your trusted person regularly during your trip. This is where having a satellite messenger with two-way messaging really comes in handy. Knowing that someone off trail is aware of your whereabouts while you're hiking alone can provide peace of mind both for you and the person at home, especially if you have a way to communicate with them during during your trip while you're out of cell and Wi-Fi service. Tip number 6 is to join a community. As a woman who prioritizes spending time out on trail alone, I know all too well what it's like to be judged by others and the social stigma that comes with being a female who wants to be out on trail by herself. When I first started my solo backpacking journey, some of my friends and family projected their own fears onto me. I'd often hear things like, "You can't go backpacking alone. It's not safe. What are you going to do if something bad happens? What about bears? What if you get lost? Are you going to carry a gun? You shouldn't go in the backcountry alone if you're not going to carry a gun." If you're new to backpacking and don't have a lot of experience being out on trail by yourself yet, hearing objections like this might make you start second-guessing yourself. Having to deal with the social stigma of being a solo female hiker or backpacker can often discourage a lot of women from wanting to get out on trail by themselves, long before they've even got a chance to try to build up their own confidence and skill sets to do it safely and comfortably. Trust me, I know. I've not only had to deal with this in my own life, but I've also talked to a lot of women who have wanted to enroll in the Confident Solo Female Backpacker system, but ended up talking themselves out of pursuing their goals of solo hiking and backpacking. All of the objections from friends and family members caused these women to second guess if they could even do something like this in the first place. My heart goes out to all of these women, and maybe this is you too. My hope is that one day these women will be willing to face and want to overcome not only their own fears, but also the fears that have been projected onto them by others, so that she can finally give herself permission to achieve her solo hiking and backpacking dreams. If you're a woman who's ready to face your own fears and deal with objections from friends and family who might not understand why going out in the backcountry alone is so important to you, I suggest start by actively seeking out like-minded people who can help provide you with support and encouragement as you make your way through your solo backpacking journey. One way to do this is by engaging with local hiking and backpacking groups, whether they're online or in person. As part of the Confident Solo Female Backpacker system, we have a private online community that's made up of students who are both currently making their way through the program and have graduated from the program. Women in this program often have a desire for connection, are looking for motivation and inspiration to keep working towards their goals, want accountability partners, and are interested in meeting other like-minded women for support, looking for other women to share their experiences with, and to potentially plan future trips with one another. Those in the program seeking this type of connection are able to do so with one another here within this active community. Oftentimes, I hear students say that the Confident Solo Female Backpacker System community is the community of women they never knew they needed, and that being able to connect with other like-minded women in this fashion is one of their favorite parts of this program.
Real quick.
Ladies, do you want to go backpacking but you're tired of waiting for someone else to go with you? Want to learn how to build up your confidence to go backpacking on your own, plan epic trips, feel comfortable taking a leadership role with planning your next trip with a group of friends, and meet other women hikers and backpackers? My goal is to help inspire more women to want to get out on trail, so I created the program I wish I had when I first started backpacking. The Confident Solo Female Backpacker System is an online backpacking program for women that's designed to help you go from feeling scared and intimidated about backpacking to feeling comfortable planning your trips so that you feel confident getting out on trail. Not only is there an online curriculum that will walk you through step by step everything you need to know in order to plan, prepare, and build up your confidence to comfortably go out on your own, but this program also includes my personalized guidance and coaching through live weekly group coaching calls, access to an exclusive community of other like-minded women hikers and backpackers from all over the country, lifetime access to all coaching support and materials, plus the opportunity to join me out on trail throughout the year for day hikes and overnight backpacking trips. Enrollment is currently open now through December 15th for any woman who is ready to learn how to get out for her first or next solo backpacking trip. Interested in becoming part of this awesome program? Click the link below to schedule a free one-on-one Zoom call with me. On our call, you'll talk to me live about your backpacking goals, ask questions about the program, and if you're a good fit for the Confident Solo Female Backpacker System, get the chance to enroll into the program on our call. Remember, the fall enrollment period will be closing on December 15th, so if you're interested in joining, don't wait too long to book your free Zoom call. Since creating and launching this program 3 years ago, I've been able to help several women plan their own backpacking adventures. You could be next. Okay, back to the video. I often hear from the women whom I talk to that getting lost is one of their biggest fears when it comes to wanting to be out on trail by themselves, especially if it's an area that they're unfamiliar with. Being a solo female backpacker or hiker means you need to be prepared to be 100% self-reliant whenever you're out in the backcountry alone. If this is you, then this is your cue to learn some basic navigation skills. Learn how to read a map and use a compass. Consider taking an online or in-person wilderness navigation course. If you're using a digital navigation app, make sure you always download a map of the area you plan on hiking in before heading out to the trail. Keep in mind, electronics can fail, so it's always a good idea to have a backup like a paper map and a compass when using a digital navigation system. And make sure you know how to use each of these tools, otherwise they're just dead weight in your pack. Another fear you might have as a solo female backpacker is a fear of getting injured or having a health issue or accident while you're hiking alone and not having immediate access to help. If this is you, consider this your cue to learn basic first aid. Familiarize yourself with common injuries and their treatments. Consider taking a wilderness first aid course and learn how to customize your own first aid kit based off of common injuries, your personal needs, and any allergies you might have. Click up here to check out my video if you're interested in learning how to put together your very own backcountry first aid kit and want to see everything I pack in my kit for all of my backcountry adventures. Maybe one of your fears of hiking alone is having to encounter wildlife while you're out there. If so, take the time to learn about the different types of wildlife that could be in the area you plan on traveling in. Learn how to safely and responsibly react in the event of an encounter with local wildlife. Here are a couple other wildlife encounter tips. If you see wildlife out on trail, always give them wide berth and plenty of space. Make noise while you're out on trail, especially if you're hiking solo. Don't ever approach wildlife too closely and never feed them. You'll also want to learn how to practice proper food storage while you're out on trail. Start by learning what the local rules and regulations are for proper food storage in the area that you plan on traveling in. Are you required to use a hard-sided bear canister? Are there poles provided at each tent site for you to hang your food? Can you use an earth sack, or are there trees in the area to be able to do a proper food hang? When using a hard-sided bear canister, earth sack, or food bag, make sure you know what items need to be stored in the container, know how to properly close the container, and know where the container should be stored while you're at camp. One of the best ways to prevent unwanted wildlife encounters is to always properly store your food whenever you're out on trail. Never ever store food or smelly items in your tent at night. And finally, the last tip I want to share is regarding safety concerns for solo female backpackers and hikers, either if you're on trail or off. Before you head out to the trailhead alone, create a communication plan with your trusted person at home and try to stick to it. You'll want to make sure your trusted person at home has a copy of your trip itinerary, your planned route, your expected return day and time, and how you plan on communicating with them when you're on trail and then after you finish your hike. It's also a good idea to have some sort of backup plan for your trip. As you're doing the research portion of your trip planning, mark any potential exit routes and alternates along your route that you could take in the event of an emergency, and make sure to share this with your trusted person back at home as well. Also, prior to getting out on trail by yourself, you might want to consider taking a self-defense class if you feel like this is something that will help you feel more confident and prepared as you venture out on trail alone. Once you're out on trail by yourself, practice personal safety tips like always being aware of your surroundings and the other people you see out on trail. Tune into your senses and always stay alert to your surroundings and any potential dangers. Try to avoid distractions like limiting your phone use. If you're using an app on your phone to navigate, make sure you look up from the screen so that you don't trip or miss a junction. Avoid listening to music, audiobooks, and podcasts while hiking. These are great distractions once you're at camp and safely in your tent for the night. If you do listen to anything on your phone while hiking during the day, make sure to keep the volume down and only use one earbud at a time. This way, you're able to stay aware of your environment and hear things around you like adverse weather, nearby wildlife, water sources, or another hiker who might be coming up behind you. Make it a goal to select a tent site and set up camp before dark. This way, you'll have plenty of time to select a safe tent site and do all of your camp chores like setting up your tent, collecting and filtering water, and eating dinner while it's still light out. And finally, always trust your instincts. If something or someone you meet out on trail feels off, uncomfortable, or unsafe, get yourself out of the situation immediately. Change your route, pick a different break spot or tent site, or turn around and head back to the trailhead. Never share that you're hiking alone with anyone on trail who you don't know, and never feel obligated to have to be overly friendly with strangers. If you're still here with me, thank you for watching this video. If you've been thinking about wanting to go on a solo day hike, or maybe you're ready to start planning a solo backpacking trip, whatever it is that you want to do, I want you to know that you can do this. The only thing standing in your way is you. It's totally normal to feel anxious about going out in the backcountry alone, especially if you're a woman who's heard a bunch of objections from other people telling you why they think it's not safe for you to do so. But with enough preparation and planning, you can enjoy the freedom of solo backpacking. Solo hiking and backpacking can be an incredible experience. It's the ultimate confidence booster. Trust me, if you can be self-reliant in the backcountry, you can do anything. This might even change your life if you let it. If you like this video and got some value out of it, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new videos each week and hit the bell icon to get notified each time new videos are posted. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy trails and keep on trekking.